Before the school stage play performance, my daughter Betty came home clutching a dingy cardboard costume, secretly wiping tears in the corner. I asked her what role she was playing. She mumbled quietly, "A trash can." Her teacher posted the program schedule in the group chat, explaining, "Every child is important. Trash cans are also part of urban civilization." But when I clicked on it, I discovered that the school board chairman's daughter was playing the princess, and the PTA president's son was playing the prince. And my daughter's name was placed at the very bottom of the background props group. My daughter's teacher messaged me privately, "Mrs. James, don't be too fussy. Your family hasn't really contributed much to the class." I looked at the contract on the table that I'd just signed and smiled. That cardboard costume was hastily thrown together from delivery boxes. Square and boxy, painted with a layer of gray, with the words trash can crookedly stuck on the chest. My daughter Betty stood in the entryway, fingers twisting the hem of her clothes, eyes red as if she'd just been crying. She's 7 years old this year. Usually she'd feel bad for half a day if her dress hem got a little muddy, but now she clutched that dirty cardboard costume, trying hard to act like it didn't matter. "Mom," Samantha said, "this role is important too." Her voice got smaller and smaller. "Everyone needs to protect the environment, so we need trash cans." I crouched down and took the cardboard costume from her arms. The gray paint wasn't completely dry yet, and got all over my hands. I suppressed my anger and asked her, "Didn't you say before that you were going to play the little artist with a paintbrush?" Half a month ago, she practiced her lines in front of the mirror every night. "I'm going to paint the sky blue and paint every child into springtime." One line she'd practiced seriously more than 10 times. She even showed me her sketch. Rainbows, stages, balloons, and a group of children standing in the center. She said the teacher praised her drawing as the best, and would let her be the opening little artist for Children's Day. Betty lowered her head. Samantha said Christiana is more suitable for the little artist. Her dad is the school board chairman. The principal said she has to stand in the center. I picked up my phone and opened the class group chat. The program schedule had just been posted. Childlike hearts toward the future. Princess, Christiana. Prince, Mendez. Little artist, Christiana. Flower team. PTA members' children. Background props group, Betty trash can. I stared at that line for a long time. My phone buzzed again. Teacher Samantha sent me a private message. "Mrs. James, I know you might feel a bit uncomfortable, but children need to adapt to the group. Many parents contributed money and effort for our class's Children's Day activity this time. You're usually busy with work, don't participate in the PTA, and don't really contribute to the class. The teacher can only consider everything comprehensively. The trash can role also has great educational significance. Please don't let your child misunderstand." I looked at the words contribute and almost laughed out loud. 3 hours ago, Sun School had just sent someone to my office to sign the sponsorship contract for the entire Children's Day event with me. Stage, lighting, live streaming, photography, balloons, interactive gifts. Total price, $860,000. The contract's Party A was James Entertainment under my name. The school representative had nodded and bowed, saying this Children's Day Gala was an important window for showcasing the school's arts education achievements, and hoped we could cooperate long-term. I only made one request at the time. Make sure all the children happily celebrate Children's Day. The representative smiled and said, "Don't worry, Ms. James. Our school has always put children first." Now it seemed they valued not children, but the parents behind the children. I didn't immediately reply to Samantha. I placed the cardboard costume on the table and asked Betty, "Did anyone laugh at you during rehearsal today?" Tears immediately fell from her eyes. Mendez said I was just there on stage for them to throw waste paper at. He also stuffed his finished yogurt box into my costume. Samantha saw it and said it was part of the performance effect. My fingers clenched bit by bit. Betty hurriedly wiped her tears. "Mom, can I not go tomorrow?" I hugged her. "Go." Her body stiffened. I gently stroked her head, but not to be a trash can. Early the next morning, I took Betty to school. The stage had already been set up on the playground. The main backdrop featured the rainbow and balloons from Betty's drawing. Even the little sun in the lower right corner that was slightly crooked was exactly the same as in her draft. But the signature on the backdrop read, "Christiana." I stood at the edge of the playground, staring at those words, and suddenly understood. Betty hadn't just had her role stolen, her artwork had been stolen too. Samantha saw me, and a flash of impatience crossed her face. "Mrs. James, parent viewing doesn't start until this afternoon. You can't go backstage right now." I smiled. "I'm here to help my child change clothes." Samantha glanced at the clean white jacket in my hands. "Didn't we already distribute the costumes?" As she spoke, she pointed to the cardboard on the ground nearby. That gray trash can costume had been carelessly thrown in a corner, with footprints from several children next to it. Betty instinctively hid behind me. Samantha frowned. "Betty, what are you hiding from? Didn't you agree yesterday that you'd cooperate with the teacher today?" Her voice wasn't loud, but it was enough for several nearby parents to hear. PTA President Rachel walked over. She wore a champagne-colored suit with a volunteer badge pinned to her chest. Samantha, you can't spoil children. If they don't understand, you have to teach them. She glanced at me and smiled lightly. So many of us parents have been working tirelessly. Which child hasn't followed the arrangements? Some people don't contribute money or effort, but when it's time to go on stage, they complain about the role. How can there be such a good deal? Her son Mendez was standing nearby wearing his prince costume. Hearing his mother backing him up, he immediately made a face at Betty. The trash can is here. Later I'll throw paper balls at you. You'd better catch them. Betty's face went pale. I turned to look at Mendez. Who taught you to talk like that? Rachel's expression darkened as she pulled her son behind her. A child making a joke and you, an adult, have to make a big deal of it? Samantha also spoke up. Mrs. James, today is Children's Day. Everyone's happy. Please don't make the atmosphere awkward. I asked her, can a child be happy being called a trash can? Samantha's brow twitched. It's just a role name. Besides, environmental protection themes need someone to play the trash can. Betty has a quiet personality, so she's more suitable. I took out my phone and opened a screenshot of the original program schedule Betty had shown me last night. Then why did it originally say Betty would play the little artist? Samantha's expression changed. Program adjustments are normal. Rachel crossed her arms and sneered. Mrs. James, I advise you not to make a scene. This school isn't run by whoever has the loudest voice. Christiana's father is the school board chairman. Our family handled the gift procurement for this Children's Day. Other parents also contributed to class activity fees. She looked me up and down. And you? Besides dropping off and picking up your child on time, what else have you done? You don't contribute resources but want your child to have center stage. Isn't that teaching your child to freeload? I suddenly laughed. So children's roles are assigned based on parent contributions. Samantha immediately interrupted. I didn't say that. But Rachel didn't think she'd said anything wrong. Pretty much. That's how society works. Letting children understand early isn't a bad thing. Children with resources get more opportunities. Children without resources learn to cooperate. When she grows up, she'll thank us for letting her adapt to society early. She said it so righteously. Although Samantha didn't respond, she didn't refute it either. I looked down at Betty. She was clutching my hand, her little face deathly pale. I crouched down and smoothed the stray hair from her forehead. Did you hear that? It's not that you're not good enough. It's that they're dirty themselves and call their disgustingness reality. Betty stared at me blankly. Rachel's expression turned ugly. Who are you calling dirty? I stood up. Whoever feels guilty knows who I'm talking about. Samantha, probably afraid I'd keep making a scene, reached out to pull Betty. Go change first. The performance is about to start. Betty took a step back. Teacher, I don't want to play the trash can. Samantha's expression completely turned cold. Betty, what did the teacher tell you yesterday? Group activities can't have problems because of one person. Your mother doesn't understand, so you have to not understand too? Tears welled up in Betty's eyes. Mendez quietly laughed nearby. If you don't perform, you won't get a Children's Day gift. Rachel lightly patted Mendez's head. Mendez, don't talk nonsense. But her face clearly showed indulgence. Just then, the backstage curtain was pulled open, and a little girl in a white gauze dress ran out, wearing a crown on her head and holding a paintbrush in her hand. It was the school board chairman's daughter, Christiana. She saw Betty and wrinkled her nose. Samantha, why hasn't she changed into the trash can yet? After I finish painting the rainbow at the opening, I need to throw the waste paper in. If she doesn't stand there, where am I supposed to throw it? Children speak without restraint, but some children's malice never grows from nothing. Samantha quickly coaxed her. Christiana, don't worry. It'll be ready soon. She turned to look at me and lowered her voice. Mrs. James, please don't make this difficult for me. The school board chairman and principal will be here soon. We can't mess up the program. I asked, who set the program? Samantha didn't answer. Rachel clicked her tongue impatiently. What exactly do you want? It's just a role. If you're dissatisfied, why didn't you join the PTA in the first place? Our family alone advanced tens of thousands for gift procurement for this Children's Day. Christiana's family donated a dance studio to the school. What right does your child have to compete with them? Just as I was about to retort, Principal Antoine walked over with several administrators. He was all smiles. Why is everyone gathered here? Rachel immediately went up to him. Principal Antoine, it's nothing serious. A parent is dissatisfied with her child's role assignment and is making a scene here. Samantha also added in a low voice. Mrs. James isn't cooperating with the school's work and is interfering with the program. Principal Antoine looked at me, his smile fading a bit. Parent, today is the school-wide Children's Day performance. City officials will also be here. If you have any issues, we can communicate after the event. Please don't disrupt normal order right now. I looked at him. What if the problem is your order itself? Principal Antoine's face darkened. Parents need to watch what they say. Our son's school has been running for many years. We prioritize children's comprehensive development above all. Rachel sneered nearby. Principal Antoine, don't waste words on her. Some parents are like this. They don't support the school normally, but make a big deal out of everything. We can't indulge this kind of attitude. Samantha, as if finding a backer, reached for the trash can costume on the ground. Betty, go change. Betty didn't move. Samantha's voice rose. Betty, if you don't change, today's entire class program will be delayed because of you. When your classmates blame you, don't come crying to the teacher. Betty was so scared she trembled. I gripped her shoulder. No need to change. Principal Antoine frowned. Security, please escort this parent to the waiting room. 2 security guards were about to step forward. My phone rang. The caller was my assistant. Ms. James, the lighting team has completed final testing, and the live streaming link is also set up. The school is urging us to send the final payment confirmation. I looked at Principal Antoine and pressed speakerphone. Don't send it yet. My assistant paused. What do you mean? I said, notify the on-site execution team. James Entertainment is withdrawing all stage, lighting, live streaming, photography, and gift sponsorship for this Children's Day performance. Now, the playground of Sun's school, which had been buzzing with the excited chatter of parents and children, went completely silent. My assistant's voice, amplified by the speaker on my phone, carried clearly through the cold morning air, flat and entirely devoid of emotion. Understood, Ms. James. I'll notify the logistics and technical divisions. Immediately. The project has been flagged as cancelled by Party A. Principal Antoine's hand, which had been raised to signal the 2 approaching security guards, froze in midair. His face, still carrying that oily, professional smirk, slowly stiffened. Mrs. James. Antoine's voice was low, slightly cracked. What did you just say? Before I could answer, the massive LED wall behind the stage, the one displaying the stolen rainbow drawing, suddenly went black. The vibrant colors vanished, replaced by a gray, flickering matrix of dead pixels. The high-end LA acoustic sound system, which had been playing a soft, classical melody, gave a sharp, metallic screech as the power was cut, then fell. Completely silent. Throughout the playground, 40 high-definition spotlights snapped off there. Cooling fans slowing down with a low, dying whine. What's happening? Rachel, the PTA president, shrieked, her hand dropping from Mendez's head as she stared at the dark stage. The lights. The music. Why did they turn off? Our class is supposed to go on in 10 minutes. 2 men in black James Entertainment crew jackets walked onto the stage, holding clipboards. All units, initiate teardown. The technical director barked into his walkie-talkie, ignoring the shocked gasps of the parents. Lead wall, pack the panels into flight cases. Audio team, disconnect the amplifiers. The sponsorship has been voided. Stop right there. Samantha, the teacher, rushed toward the stage, her face turning a deep, angry red. Who gave you permission to touch that equipment? The principal is standing right here. We have a contract with your company. The technical director paused, looking down at her from the stage with the cold, bored expression of a man who worked with stadium-level productions. Our contract is with James Entertainment, ma'am, he said, tapping his clipboard. And the chairman just canceled the invoice. If you have any questions, you can contact our legal department. Simon, get the hydraulic lift. Antoine's phone began to ring violently in his hand. The screen showed the name of the school's general director, Mr. Vance. Antoine answered it with a trembling finger, his voice dropping into a nervous, oily whisper. Director Vance? Yes, there's been a minor technical glitch with the stage, but we're handling it. Glitch? The director's voice roared through the speaker, so loud that even Rachel, who was standing 3 feet away, could hear it. The corporate headquarters of James Entertainment just notified our legal team that they are withdrawing their $860,000 sponsorship. They're canceling the live stream, the television broadcast, and the National Art Scholarship Fund they were going to announce today. What did you do, Antoine? Who did you offend? Antoine slowly turned his head to look at me. His eyes went from my face to the simple white jacket in my hands, then down to Betty, who was still hiding behind my skirt, her small hand clutching my fingers. The woman he had dismissed as a non-contributing parent, who didn't participate in the PTA, was currently holding the entire school's financial future in her hands. Mrs. James. Antoine's voice was barely a whisper. You're the chairman of James Entertainment? The silence that followed was broken by the sound of a luxury sedan's door slamming near the school gates. A middle-aged man in a bespoke navy blue suit strode onto the playground, his brow furrowed as he looked at the dark stage and the crew members who were already packing the expensive lenses into flight cases. It was Mr. Miller, the school board chairman and Christiana's father. Antoine, what is going on here? Mr. Miller demanded, his voice echoing in the quiet courtyard. The mayor's car is 5 minutes away. The city arts education press release is scheduled for noon. Why is the stage dark? Rachel immediately ran to his side, her voice filled with a desperate, defensive panic. Mr. Miller, it's this parent, Mrs. James. She's being completely unreasonable. She's making a scene over her daughter's role and used her company's connection to shut down the power. You must have her arrested. Summer James. Mr. Miller's gaze shifted to me. His face went from an arrogant, commanding mask of authority to a pasty, sickly gray in a fraction of a second. He had spent 3 months trying to secure an appointment with James Entertainment to pitch a co-development project for his pharmaceutical firm's new research lab. He knew better than anyone that my company's marketing division held the absolute power to make or break his firm's public listing next month. Ms. James. Mr. Miller's voice shook. He took 3 steps forward, his hands raised in a defensive, pleading gesture, completely ignoring Rachel. I had no idea you were Betty's mother. The school administration, they handled the program assignments. I had absolutely no involvement in this. You didn't know? I asked, a small, cold smile touching my lips. I pulled out my phone and played the audio recording of the conversation we had just had. Christiana's family donated a dance studio to the school. What right does your child have to compete with them? Rachel's voice played through my phone speaker, clear and sharp. Mr. Miller, I said, my voice flat. Your daughter, Christiana, is currently holding my daughter's paintbrush, standing on a stage designed with my daughter's stolen artwork. And your PDA president just explained to me that children without resources need to learn to cooperate and be trash cans for the rich children. No, that's a misunderstanding. Mr. Miller turned on Rachel, his eyes bloodshot with a sudden wild fury. Rachel, who gave you the right to speak on behalf of the board? Who allowed you to allocate roles based on donations? Mr. Miller, I was just trying to protect Christiana's center stage. Rachel stammered, her face turning an ashen, dusty color. You said yourself last week that Christiana had to be the opening star. Shut up, Mr. Miller screamed, his hand trembling so hard he nearly dropped his briefcase. Antoine, fire this teacher immediately and remove Rachel from the PTA board. The Miller family's donation to the school. We're withdrawing it. We have nothing to do with this. The high society world of Sun School was dismantled in a single hour. Mr. Miller, a man who valued his corporate standing above all else, didn't even wait for the city officials to arrive. He ordered his legal team to freeze all corporate ties with the school, while Antoine was dragged into the administrative offices by his collar, his face white with terror. But I didn't stop there. Simon, I said into my phone, my voice dropping into a cold, professional register. Have our media division release the complete program history of Flight G1024, the original sketch drawings of the school's backdrop, and the private chat logs from teacher Samantha. Understood, Ms. James, Simon replied. By 1 p.m., the story had dominated the city's trending searches. The title read, Sun School's Arts Education, Stolen Children's Drawings and Trashcan Costumes for the Unprivileged. The high-definition photos of the gray cardboard costume, with the crooked trashcan letters, were displayed next to Christiana's gold-embroidered princess dress. The contrast was so shocking, so ugly, that the public opinion erupted into a massive wave of indignation. The city education department launched a formal investigation into Sun School's capital accounts and the selective allocation of children's roles based on corporate donations. Samantha was fired by 3 p.m., her license suspended pending a professional standards review. Rachel's husband's logistics firm, which relied heavily on James Entertainment's distribution contracts, was blacklisted by our corporate offices within 24 hours. 3 days later, the spring sun was warm, lighting up the green grass of the city's Central Park. In the middle of the grand lawn, a massive rainbow-colored stage had been set up under a canopy of blue and white balloons. There were no VIP sections, no private donor tables, and no safety ropes separating the children. It was the Municipal Children's Day Carnival, sponsored entirely by James Entertainment. Betty stood in the center of the stage, wearing a clean white jacket, a large wooden paintbrush in her hand. Her face was bright, her eyes sparkling with the cold, clear joy of a child who was finally standing in her own light. I'm going to paint the sky blue, she said into the microphone, her small voice carrying clearly across the quiet lawn, and paint every child into springtime. Behind her, a massive digital screen lit up, displaying her drawing, the real one, signed with her own name, Betty James. The crowd of 5,000 children and parents broke into a sudden, wild cheer, their balloons flying up into the clear blue sky like a cloud of spring flowers. I sat in the front row, holding my camera, my face warm under the sun. Beside me, the technical director smiled. "She's a natural, Ms. James." "She is," I said, a soft, bright smile finally touching my lips. I looked up at the stage, where Betty was laughing, her paintbrush tracing a wide blue arc in the air, and I knew that from this day on, no one would ever be able to throw waste paper at her again.